Here is a Nambu Type 26 revolver from Japan. This one in particular was presented to the military occupation governor of Yokohama in 1945. And it was a very old design by that time, as we'll learn. But let's get back to the Type 26 in general. It was officially known as the Meiji 26 Nenkenju, which basically means it was the pistol designed in the 26th year of the Meiji era. Sorry for all pronunciations, of course. This was the first quote-unquote modern revolver that was used by the Imperial Army as they tried to kind of catch up with Western powers. It's a curious piece of sidearm history. Not a particularly good design, though. You don't tend to be good at things the first time around, and this was just not up to snuff. And this was designed in 1893 and produced from then until 1935. Despite the subpar design, about 60,000 were made. It saw action in the Russo-Japanese War, World War I, and even World War II. Its official, in-service lifespan ended in 1945 with the end of the Second World War. So you're looking at the Nambu family of pistols here. And you can easily see that all future Nambus were semi-automatic. I actually own one of its descendants, a Type 14, the classic World War II Japanese pistol, so I will definitely get to show you some great views of that one day. Just gotta get around to making the video. Back to the 26, though, it's interesting for a variety of reasons, one of which is that it uses 9mm ammunition. That's right, 9mm. How weird is that? A 9mm revolver. It was a 6-shooter, as most full-size revolvers of the day were. Great historic image here, obviously. Speaking of design, this is a hammerless revolver, so it was double action only. You can see the hammer, but you can't operate it, with your thumb. You'll see that here up above in just a second, as you see the proof marks. As I understand it, this weapon was not known for its accuracy, and if you've ever fired a revolver, you know how much easier it is to shoot accurately from single-action mode. But then again, a big industrialized war, is that going to make much of a difference? Probably not. This was a sidearm, right? The hammer is definitely part of what gives this revolver its unique look. Just that real rectangularish block. And the idea, of course, with the hammerless design is that the hammer can't get caught on clothing or the holster. One less thing to worry about. Here's some more of the marking, and as you can tell, this had a lanyard ring, which was kind of a big deal back in the day. I don't know how convenient that design feature actually was, but it was definitely a thing. Guns are very durable, lanyards are not, so it's pretty rare to find one of these that still has the lanyard attached. So here's a different example. I'm going to show you one other one as well. It's nice to see the holster, too. The holster did not stick around to exist side by side with the one that I'm looking at. This one is definitely worse for wear compared to the one that I am looking at today. You can see that on the body, the handle. But here's another one. The finish on this one is obviously very splotchy. What else? Even if you didn't know anything about firearms, or very little, you could tell that this one swings downward in order to be reloaded, right? Fairly obvious given that feature that we're looking at right here. Once you operated the latch that would let you swing this downward, and you did that, the shells would be automatically ejected. Now let's talk about the teased design flaw. It involves the cylinder. The cylinder only takes proper position when the hammer is locked. And what that means is that the cylinder can rotate when you don't want it to. So it can brush up against something, it can spin, and that is not good for a combat revolver, not good for a revolver, period. But, when you're firing one, you mentally are kind of keeping track of where you are, how many bullets you've gone through, right? What position you're in. Or more accurately, what position the cylinder's in. So this wouldn't matter if you drew the weapon and fired all 6 rounds. But you're not always doing that, and unless you do, then after the pistol has moved a little bit, you're wondering if you're on an empty slot or not. This YouTuber, whose video you can see named in a second, points out how bad this design is. Also said that it felt like a 30-pound draw to pull the trigger on this thing. And the harder it is to pull a trigger, the harder it is to keep your aim true. And then on top of everything else, we're told that the timing on this whole mechanism was bad. As you're drawing, and it's apparently a very tough draw, there was a delay before the thing would lock into position so that you could fire. Essentially, we're told it was virtually impossible to shoot straight. Here is obviously another YouTube video you can check out on it, and notice the term Grandpa Nambu. You had the Grandpa Nambu, the Papa Nambu, so kind of this fun little tradition of naming them that way and tracing out the evolution of this family. So here's an up-close view back to ours. I guess lining up the sights really wasn't that useful on this, but of course it does have them. And yeah, it was a great weapon to hold, even though it was not a well-designed one. Have not shown you the checkered groups yet, so here they are, and I will leave you with that image. Thanks.